Now, this year's Baftas get underway next month, and the ceremony will be hosted by the Traitors US and Good Wife star Alan Cumming. Nominations are announced next week, with the stars of Hamnet and Marty Supreme among the favourites to win. Delighted to say, joining us now to talk more about that and the work that Bafta does more broadly, is the Chief Exec of Bafta, Jane Millichip. Jane, very good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So we were just talking, so you announced the nominees for all of the awards next Tuesday.
Correct.
And then the awards themselves are on the 22nd of February. It's kind of a reminder of how intense the period is. So all of your voters will have to cast their votes in a sort of month space of time.
We encourage them to watch as many films and go to the cinema as much as they can, particularly in the fourth quarter of the year. Mm-hmm. The first round of voting is around Christmas time, and then we produce what we call the long list, which I think is a great thing to celebrate because when anybody says to me during the year, "What can you recommend a watch list?" I always say, go back to the Bafta long list. It's brilliant, it's varied, it's full of rich storytelling. And then we move to nominations, and we announce those on Tuesday, and then our voters have another opportunity to vote before the awards themselves on the 22nd of Feb.
You obviously sit between the Globes, the Golden Globes that we've already had, and the Oscars to come. How important is that, and how strategically thought through is that for Bafta to be kind of placed there to give Bafta itself and British film a significant place on the agenda? It's
very strategic, and we work quite closely with the other awards bodies so that we don't so that we all have a good date, as it were, and we collaborate with them because it's in all our interests that we all succeed. And for some years now, Bafta has gone about 3 weeks before the Oscars, and we're seen increasingly as a bellwether for the Oscars. But we are probably the biggest international film awards alongside those big award ceremonies in the States. And we celebrate international film, but what makes us different is our Britishness. Mm-hmm. And we have a couple of categories in which we celebrate British film: outstanding British film and outstanding debut. And so it's a really rich mix of British talent, and it's amazing. We get full support from the US studios, which is fantastic. And many of those US studios have supported British film this year. So it's really a global community, but we really want to foreground British talent.
It's interesting because we can all get a bit depressed about, how well or not the economy is doing at certain points. But this is an industry where we are as good as any nation, perhaps the best in the world. I mean, we certainly punch above our weight on a sort of relative to population type basis.
Absolutely. I mean, the creative industries are worth about 125 billion to the UK, which is extraordinary. And you've seen in recent years that US studios have been building increasingly studios all over the UK. Our talent pipeline is seen as exceptional, particularly our craft. And we do punch above our weight. And we are influential in our storytelling. If you just look at the films in the long list at the moment, extraordinary talent. It's really important to the UK culturally. It's really important to the world culturally, and definitely to the economy.
I guess a lot of people do think of Bafta as the awards ceremony, but it's much more than that.
Yes.
What are some of the other kind of headline things that you spend some of the money you raise on?
Well, we're a big arts charity, and we also represent film, games and television. So we're unusual in that we support 3 sectors in the screen arts. But we run a number of talent programmes in which we look to level the playing field in the screen arts, provide opportunity particularly for underrepresented groups. We have refreshed our membership in recent years to ensure that it is representative of the population as a whole. Representation matters because if we invite into the community of the screen arts as many people as we can, and talented people from all quarters of society, the stories they tell are then more representative and connect more with audiences. But we run bursaries, scholarships, in career acceleration programmes, a whole suite of programmes.
I guess the framing I think many would have is that there was great progress in the industry for decades on that, and that it's tailed off or plateaued. Is that fair or not?
Well, I think the screen industries go through ebbs and flows. In television at the moment, there are challenges with the downturn in advertising. And I think there has been particular challenges for the freelance sector. So we're turning our attention on a lot of our talent schemes to try and help freelancers particularly navigate careers that we need to try and make sustainable and agile. But yeah, there are peaks and troughs in the industry. I've been around long enough to see both many times. But I think the cultural sector in the UK needs support. It's really important culturally, socially, as well as economically. And we've got a lot of talent here, and we've got an amazing pipeline that we need to continue to foster, all the way from creative arts in schools through to in-career development programmes.
I had one quick final question.
Yeah.
You know, there's a Netflix are in the process potentially of buying Warner Brothers Discovery. It's a complicated kind of battle at the moment. Some question whether that would push more Warner Brothers, a film studio, to the small screen. Where do you stand on the importance? You said at the start, encourage your voters to go to the cinema to watch films.
Yeah.
How important is the big screen?
It's really important because nothing really replaces that amazing moment when the lights go down, whether you're with friends or on your own. And it's a really important experience. It really connects with audiences. And in our awards, our entry criteria, we do require films to have had a cinema release before they go on to streaming platforms. And so we do support the theatres and cinema going. But it's part of a mix nowadays. And, you know, the streamers have put a lot of investment into filmmaking, which is very welcome. But if you can go to the cinemas, please go. And I was talking to some of your team in the green room earlier, and they were waxing lyrically about the films they'd seen at the cinema this weekend. So
there are some good ones this year, for sure.
There are.
I went to see Marty Supreme recently. It was very, very good. We're out of time. Jane, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Great to see Jane Millichip, the Chief Executive of Bafta.